Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Golf Podcast Live with Raf and Mike. Welcome once again. This is episode 114 of season 3. I'm Raphael with Michael as always. And just to let you know, this episode is brought to you by the shipyards in North Vancouver, running May 16th to September 12th in North Vancouver. Every Friday night, enjoy artisan market vendors, food trucks, beer garden, DJs, and live music. But before we get to our special guest, there's two major headlines in golf. Scottie Scheffler wins the PGA Championship in an epic fashion at Quail Hollow, and Angel Cabrera wins his second tournament this year and wins a major at the Regions Tradition at Greystone. Pretty incredible. But with us today, American professional golfer. He's a dog lover, a bus driver with 29 wins, most notably the 1989 Open, or as we used to call it, the British Open, Mr. Mark Calcavecchia. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Raphael. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
No, we're happy to have you here. Appreciate your time.
So much to talk about. Let's go to current news. Did you get a chance to watch a little bit of the golf this weekend?
I did. I watched most all day yesterday, missed a little Saturday, off and on Thursday and Friday, but I saw a good amount of it. Scottie wasn't on his game really at all the first couple days and just kind of hung in there. I mean, he had some shots the first day that I've never seen him hit. But somehow he managed to shoot 69. That's what the great players do when they don't have their best stuff, and it happens a lot more than you would think, even for him or Tiger or whoever. But that's the whole key, is shooting a good score when you don't have your best stuff, and then it's only a matter of time before his best stuff is going to kick in, and it certainly did on Saturday when he finished like that, 5 under the last 5 holes, and it really was pretty much over on Sunday. I know it got close there for a minute, but. Yeah, it was fun to watch. He's certainly impressive.
The little faltering out of the gates, but it made it interesting with the Chambeau and Rahm getting into discussion, and then it turned into the Scottie show, and he just shut the door on the field. It was well accomplished for his third major.
Yeah, it sure was, and there's going to be several more of those. Really only a matter of time. I mean, I thought he was like early 30s, 31 or 2. He's still only 28, so. He just looks older, and he plays older. His maturity level is crazy good. He doesn't seem like a 28-year-old to me.
Not at all. I was wild at 28, so I couldn't. I was nowhere near the composure of Scottie Scheffler, and he's like an old guy in a young body, and he's not at his peak yet. I think that we're going to see a lot out of him in the next 5 years.
No, we're going to see a lot of them, and it's only a matter of time before he wins the U.S. Open and the Open to complete the Kruger Grand Slam and join that amazing sixum that we have right now.
I wonder what Ladbrokes is predicting for him to win the next 2 majors this year. That might be a bet we should throw some money on.
Right? Yeah, it looks like Oakmont's going to be a crapshoot. I guess they're really going to make it tough. I've seen videos of stuff of the rough already that just looks frightening. So, I mean, when the rough's like that, anything can happen. If you get a little haywire with your driver, you're going to start making some bogeys in a hurry.
Yeah.
So it's he's going to have to drive it great, which he does. But still, there's a lot of pressure off the tee, and even the greats can miss fairways. So it'll be kind of fun to watch. I was never a fan of the U.S. Open for that reason. Their fairways were, and when I played in all my U.S. Opens, it was mostly deep rough. It wasn't the graduated stuff that now sometimes they have. And say the fairway's 27 yards wide. I missed the fairway by 3 inches. You see it hop into the deep stuff. That's a pretty straight drive for me. And then just grab your sand wedge. I mean, you're going to have no shot. Yeah. So I was never a fan of that setup, and it got worse. My two best U.S. Opens were the first 2 I played. So after that, I wasn't a fan, but I'll definitely be watching.
I love watching the majors right now, Mark and Mike, with not only Scotty Scheffler, but seeing those live players come back. I hate calling them live players. They're just professional golfers playing different tours right now. But just seeing them 4 times a year kind of makes it a little bit more exciting. With Bryce's distance and his accuracy and his bravado. And then you've got Scotty, who's sort of the opposite of that. I've got to give a shout out to Taylor Pendrith, who had a great tournament, finished 5 under as well. So that was really nice to see. Even nice to see Johnny Vegas kind of leading the tournament, playing fairly well while everybody was kind of catching up. But it seems like that Green Mile, those last 3 holes really did a number on everyone. It was really hard, especially with the no lift, clean, and place rule in effect. Your thoughts on that, Mark?
Yeah, those three holes are brutal. And I did send out a tweet on Thursday that I couldn't believe the PGA wasn't playing it up. And, I get it. It's a major. Everybody says it's a major championship. You can't play lift, clean, and place. And I'm like, well, maybe because it was a major championship and it was the PGA, I think it would have been fair to the players to not hit mud balls and make bogeys and double bogeys, with good iron swings. That doesn't make any sense either to me, honestly. So I get that it is a major and they wanted to play it down, but yeah. And then even Friday, it was drier, but probably the mud balls were worse on Friday because, at least when it's wet, the mud can fly off when you hit the ball. When it gets a little cakier and dries up, then it becomes really tough. So it was kind of unfortunate the weather they had on Monday and Tuesday with all the rain they got. But anyway, it turned out to be a great tournament. And it is fun to see Rahm and Bryson there playing great. Some of the live player in Hatton, some of the live players, I think their game has dropped off a little bit because they probably don't, like DJ, they probably don't, Brooks even. I'm sure they were trying as hard as they could and they were fired up to play. But I think for a few players, it's that golf league, we'll call it exhibition league. It really has kind of taken some zip out of some of the great players, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors out there with, such large paydays may not give them that motivation and the lack of reps compared to a PGA schedule.
The travel.
Travel, and it's disheartening because I miss seeing those guys in the field. I think the PGA Tour is missing out not having DJ and Koepka and Hatton's great to watch on TV when he gets a little fiery and
he is funny.
Yeah, that scene when his
wife. I agree, and I hope, and I think within a year or two, we'll get some sort of unity together, and both tours will kind of come together. And I don't know what they're going to call it, but where the live guys will be able to play some PGA Tour events and vice versa. Then maybe we'll have a live tour event, co-sanctioned by the PGA Tour in Australia or Singapore or somewhere weird, and get them all playing together more often. And I think everybody wants to see that.
We do. We as fans, we do. Like, there's a lot of great players on the PGA Tour that kind of filled the vacuum when the separation happened. But it's still these characters. Even the DeChambeau Koepka drama that was unfolding on tour. It was kind of entertaining to see a little controversy and see some guys that weren't so polished. And it's so right now it's. I mean, this year's been great on PGA Tour. I've dialed in a little more than I did over the last couple of seasons on Sundays, especially. But I can't wait to see this resolution happen and get the guys back together and see the best players playing.
Right, I totally agree. And now I'm a golf fan. I'm pretty much retired from playing the Champions Tour. I might play a few more here or there, but so I'll spend a lot of time watching it and keeping interested, obviously. And I still love to play a lot. I play more at home with here in North Carolina at our Sapphire home with my son. We play almost every afternoon, and In the winter, I play a lot at Tequesta with the boys in Florida, down in Jupiter. So I have a lot more fun doing that, and I actually play better for whatever reason. Have a little more fun, I guess, and don't worry if I hit a crappy shot.
So, and what are you playing for with your boys? You got some cash games going, or what do you have on the go?
Yeah, nothing too major. Nothing usually more than 100. So know, and 100 closeout, press for half on the last hole or something. So nothing where anybody gets super bummed out or crushed. But it's still fun to compete. And I play a lot with Eric Cole at home, and Nick Hardy. We got quite a few tour players there. Lucas Glover's out there a lot.
Great.
Got a lot of Corn Ferry guys out there, and a lot of really good amateur players at our club too that I play with. So it's fun.
It's certainly always been a kind of a hotbed for players living out there and playing in Florida. There's so many golf courses and wonderful places to play. And I just want to circle back a little bit, Mark, and talk about your career. Obviously, you played well at the Masters in 1988. You finished second, the U.S. Open 14th in 86. The win at the Open Championship. But since we talked about the PGA Championship, right at the peak of where Tiger was playing his best, you finished fourth at the PGA Championship from 2001. What do you remember about your pairings in that tournament specifically?
Well, at the PGA Championship in 2001, I remember a couple things. It was a Ryder Cup year.
Yes.
And 9/11 hadn't happened yet. And I remember Curtis Strange telling me to get my ass in gear and have a good tournament. So I made it on points. And sure enough, I tied for fourth. And the other thing that I remember like it was yesterday was Shingo Kadayama, the Japanese cowboy.
Right.
Remember he wore that cowboy hat with the chin strap underneath it? He skipped it out of the pond on 18 over the wall and made par and tied me. And I couldn't believe it. So I don't know why I remember that shot, but I did enjoy the Atlanta Athletic Club. And then, of course, the Ryder Cup got pushed back a year to 2002. Yeah. But that course was perfect for me. I loved it. David Toms played great that week and got the win.
You know what's really great? You talk about guys like Shingo. Mike and I always talk about growing up watching you guys, and some of you guys still play on the Champions Tour, but all the characters that were on tour, whether it be, somebody like Faraday or we're talking about Payne Stewart, or Lee Trevino. It was really colorful out there, not just the wardrobe, but the way you guys interacted with each other, how you talked to the media. It was different.
It was definitely a little, way less tight. Let's put it that way. We were much more of a loose group. Of course, we weren't playing for $20 million every week, and all the elevated events and the majors and stuff. So it was definitely. I wouldn't say it was less serious because we're all trying as hard as we could, but at the end of the day. Nobody's going to go out and hit balls with their entourage of their trainer, their swing thingies, their coach, their TrackMans and stuff like that, and then go to the gym and no.
There's a lot.
That's kind of the way it is on the Champions Tour now. I mean, guys still practice and guys still exercise.
Yeah,
so, not me.
If you're like Padraig, who does all that and he really works on his swing speed, and then you have Bernard Longer, who's not a real person in my opinion. I don't know where the guy gets the energy or the discipline to work on his game, the amount he does without his tendons ripping apart. It beats me.
It's unbelievable.
It really is, and I can attest to that because I've seen it. Obviously, watching him and playing with him over the years. But he gets to the course on Tuesday, and he spends 6 hours out there every Tuesday playing a practice round on a course he's played 100 times, probably won at 5 times, knows the course like the back of his hand, and he's out there every Tuesday for 6 hours. And he doesn't have to get there on Tuesday because he never plays the Wednesday Pro-Am. He only plays Thursday. So then Wednesday, he's in the trailer, he's practicing, he's putting, he's chipping, he's hitting bunker shots.
Well, he's walking out his yardages and looking at his yard book. And I remember, Curtis Strange talking and asking Bernard about, why are you walking out the yardages? We've got the yardage book. He goes, it could be wrong.
Yeah. Or Bernhard, why do you pace it off from the back of the tee? Because that's what I do.
Like the Terminator.
Yeah. But he's incredible. And to have the energy and the discipline to still work that hard, especially as much as he's won. I mean, the old saying, winning never gets old, but geez, at some point he's just got to kind of take a deep breath and say, I've done my work and now let's just go play and have fun. And if I play great. If I don't, who gives a shit?
Right.
What's the, come the 80s and 90s, I've heard stories about the players just, after the round, just going over to the bar to wolf down some pints or some scotch or whatnot. I'm sure that doesn't happen anymore, but, is that true back in those days? Was it pretty common for the guys to gather in the bar after?
Hold on, my dog's barking at us.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
we get a little bit of that.
She might be barking at a bear. No, that wasn't her bear bark. That would have been much louder.
That was give me treats bark.
Add some atmosphere. We're both dog lovers. I've got a dog myself.
Yeah, we actually just got another one. About 6 weeks ago, we got a golden doodle puppy. Yeah, we called him Otis, and he's amazing already. I mean, he's fully potty trained. He just goes to the door and sits there until somebody takes him out. Sleeps in his kennel all night. Man, what a blessing he is. So anyway, dogs are the best.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they truly are. They're
unconditional love. They're always happy to see you when you come through the door, and that kind of makes my day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I miss mine. We've got a couple of cats right now. It's been, we're both so busy that, we just don't have the time, yet, for dogs. They'll come soon enough. But.
Yeah.
Well,
look, if you're just joining us, we're with Mark Calcavecchia. He's great on social media, so make sure you follow him with his posts on Twitter or X. That's at Mark Calc. One of the posts that you recently made made me laugh, and you were talking about John Daly and yourself and how you guys are playing. He goes, thanks to PGA John Daly, you eclipsed my 26 over par last week by a shot. The end is near, my friend. We had a good run, buddy.
Yeah.
You just got to make fun of it, and I was trying. I just I couldn't hit it. I didn't feel very good. I wasn't putting good. I was just trying to get it on the green and make pars somehow, and I couldn't even do that. And then JD whipped out 27 over the next week, and so I thought I'd throw that out there at him. But he's he's only 57 or 8. I was still playing pretty good when I was that age, but he's banged up. His wrist hurts, his thumb hurts, his knee hurts.
Yeah.
So it's tough. He still has distance. So I mean, that's the important thing. I lost all my distance after I had my spinal fusion. I lost literally 25 yards from that, even though I feel better. But and now I just give up. Me and Fred Funk are the two shortest hitters on the Champions Tour, and and Fred's 67. He still hangs in there. Yeah, he's like wondering, well, what are we doing out here? And then, I know, I agree, but I can come home and hang at home and not miss it. When he goes home, he feels like he should be back out on the Champions Tour playing because he's still exempt. When he's out there, he's like, what am I doing out here? Blah blah blah. So it's a tough situation to let go of. Mm-hmm. But like I said, I have more fun, playing with my friends and family than I do on tour anymore. So I'm good with it.
So I gather by your Twitter account, you're a huge music buff. So what's playing in your in the radio when you're in the bus going work, from events or wherever? What's on?
I'm always looking at Spotify is probably my favorite app on my phone.
Yeah.
Every day I check to see what new music they come up with, or they make you playlists and stuff like that. Of course, Rush is my favorite band. I think we all know that.
All right, we got some Canadian in there. Great.
Oh yeah, I played a lot of golf with Alex Lifeson.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It might have been Getty's last round actually.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but it probably should have been. Sorry, Getty, but yeah, he was having a rough day. But I probably talk to Alex once a month, and he's still got a lot going on. Getty's busy with books and appearances and things like that, and Alex has got his other side project band going called Envy of None, which I don't love, by the way. But anyway, I listen to a lot of Rush, Iron Maiden, Metallica.
Yeah,
great.
Nice.
New stuff. So, but yeah, there's music going on nonstop when we take our drives. That's for sure.
I saw Rush here in Vancouver. They're probably 15 years ago now, and behind them on stage, they had a bunch of those rotisserie chickens ovens that you see in the restaurant. They got like 50 chickens.
Right.
So the whole place smelled like roasted chicken, and
right.
I just was like, I was just blown away with that for one, and then the amount of noise that 3 musicians can make on stage was just unbelievable to see live. Like they're so epic.
How good they sounded. Just amazing. Yeah, it's like how can 3 guys kick out that kind of sound? It was just so pure and so tight too.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be great that you're going to be on Spotify as well, Mark, because this podcast goes on Spotify within a few days. So awesome. People will be able to listen to you, and you'll be able to download that. Alice Cooper is another guy who's a big golfer and, does the show with Rocco now on SXM. And they're pretty neat to hear all the stories and how they're involved in golf. It's nice to see how the musicians play with the golfers and so on.
Alice loves golf. We played with him he's a 9-hole guy, by the way. He only ever plays 9 holes.
Okay.
He plays up 9 almost every single day. So we played 9 holes. We went to see him in Columbus, Ohio. My wife's sister is a huge Alice Cooper fan, so Alice got us plenty of tickets, and we played 9 holes. And I met guys in his band, Ryan Roxy and Chuck Garrick, and
nice.
I wish I could have met Hurricane Nita. She's one of my favorite guitar players, Nita Strauss. But yeah, Alice loves golf, and what a great guy. Wouldn't it be fun to just sit and talk to him for about 10 straight hours and go back and talk about the olden days and what happened back then.
Yeah.
What he saw, it would be amazing.
I know from what he could remember, I'm sure the stories will be great.
Right.
Yeah, Rocco's got him on the show. Rolling the Rock, I think it's called. It's pretty neat. They talk about the old times on the road, and it's pretty great. But I want to get to our main story. Obviously, you're most known for winning the Open Championship. I grew up knowing it as the British Open, and what a British Open that was. Just incredible. Like, if I think about the leaderboard alone, Mark, Wayne Grady, obviously Greg Norman, Tom Watson, Fred Couples, David Faraday. Now these names are household names, right? It's a little bit different within the golf industry. Paul Azinger, the late Payne Stewart, Nick Faldo, Steve Pate, Craig Stadler. I'm going to throw these names out because a lot of our younger audience might not know it, and I'm going to suggest to go on to YouTube and watch the Open Championship. There's a film that's been produced by the Open, is available as of 4 years ago. So it's pretty neat to go back and watch all of this because they have a unique way of showing the Open and showing that playoff. Even Jack Nicklaus was playing, Sandy Lyle, Mark O'Mara, Raymond Floyd, Joe Ozaki, Lee Trevino. The reason why I'm naming off these players, because I know most of our audience is 40 plus and they know these names. So it's pretty cool to see that many great players at the Open.
And Arnold Palmer was there as well.
Arnold Palmer. Yeah, he shot a pair of 82s, right?
I know that. got there on Monday and I registered, I saw Mark O'Meara and Curtis Strange, and they said, "Hey, Calc, we're playing with Arnie tomorrow. Would you like to join us?" And of course, I jumped right at that. So Mark O'Meara and Arnold Palmer and Curtis Strange, the Wake Forest boys, and I made a 34 and 18 in the practice round on Tuesday, and that hole was good to me that week. And I lost one of my ear thingies.
No, that's okay. We'll put a nice picture of you holding the claret jug here.
All right.
How time flies.
How time 30-footer, and to win the match, and Arnie was like, "Dang it, Calc." But yeah, and I made him sign the 20 pounds or whatever we won. It wasn't much, but anyway, I knew I loved the course from the first time I saw it. Every hole suited my eye. I was playing good. I'd won a few tournaments at the end of 1988, and won Phoenix and LA in February and March of '89, and then I was playing some pretty good golf leading up to Troon. And when I saw the course, the weather was great. It was a good week of weather, and I knew I was going to have a good week. You don't think you're going to win before the week starts. It's like the playoff. When I found out I was in a playoff, I didn't even know it was 4 holes. Yeah. When you get to a tournament, you're not too concerned. What hole the playoff starts on.
Mike, are you able to back this up to the beginning of this playoff hole? Maybe you could walk us through, because obviously, famously, you hit that second shot onto the green just to seal the deal, really, because Wayne Grady was basically out of it. Greg hit his ball into the bunker. Then he hit it short into the bunker again, and he flew the green to be OB, and you had it. Like, how relaxed are you to do that shot? Where are you, Mike? We're at the second shot now on the last playoff hole, I think.
I believe so.
Yeah, yes. Believe it or not, after I hit that shot, and it looked like it was about 2 or 3 feet from the fairway. I mean, it looked like it almost went in. And I think that's what really caught, or the right rough where I was at. I think it really, Greg thought he had to try to do something miraculous and get it to the front edge, and because we were tied, obviously he thought he had to make birdie to stay alive, and he hit it as far as he could into the cross bunker, and then when he hit that one in the clubhouse, he didn't even finish the hole.
And Wayne's shot here is pretty hot too. He was right in there, a little. Yeah. Too little, too late, but he almost holed it himself.
Right, he hit a great shot, and luckily, he was a couple back. But when I stood over that putt, or even right before I stood over it, and I've never thought of this in my life, and I've never thought of it since. My last thought was, don't double hit it. If you watch my putt, I kind of recoil a little bit, and I really didn't normally recoil with my putter, but I kind of recoiled and almost left it short. But I thought,
did you see him right here at this shot? Where were you when Greg was hitting his sand bunker shot there?
I'm not entirely sure. I think I was probably
second shot.
Yeah, I was over in the middle of the fairway.
Okay.
And Greg thought he hit a perfect drive, and so did Greg Rita, his caddy. And yes. When he hit his drive, I was standing on the left side of the tee box, and I hit it 4 yards short of that bunker in regulation. So I knew that bunker was reachable. Right. And that's why I kind of hit a crappy drive in the playoff, because I didn't want to smoke one right in that bunker. And then when Greg just ripped it, and he was a little longer than I was at that time, and I thought to myself, if this kicks a little right, that might catch that bunker. And sure enough, it kicked about 10, 15 degrees to the right, just enough. And it was rolling, and I saw it catch the corner of the bunker. They had no idea. They were already 20 yards off the tee, and I was still standing there on the tee box watching that thing roll into the bunker. Yeah, had pretty good eyes back then. So,
And this is Greg's third shot out of the bunker, where he kind of flies the bunker, goes into OB, and that's when he knows it's done, because he was just told that's out.
Yep. He I don't think he really knew the clubhouse was out of bounds, but I did. And well, I'm sure he did too, but I think he was kind of wondering if they were going to make him finish the hole and make his 8 or 9 or whatever he was going to make. And then he just said, screw it, that's it, I'm done. And then Wayne putted his in, and then I putted mine in, and that was it. And I really don't remember a whole lot after that. What I said in the speech, I remember calling my wife, who was due with our first baby that day, by the way. And
Wow.
we ended up naming her Brittany, Brit, short for the British Open.
Yeah.
Oh, very
And
cool.
Anyway, she was a couple weeks late, so I got home in plenty of time. And yeah, and then
I guess it's kind of surreal when it's all happening. It's a bit of a blur. The interview, the crowds, the atmosphere, the noise. But I guess since going back to the Open after that, it's a different feeling, right? Because now you're considered one of the legends of the game to the British people. It's their game, right? It's the
right. Oh, right. Every Open that I've been back to after that, and I played in 31 of them. So, and that was only my third Open. So I played another 28 of them, and every time I got back, it was a great reception. People knew who I was, wanted my autograph, and even if I hadn't won that year, I would have told you it was my favorite tournament in the world. Even if I never won the thing. The atmosphere, the knowledge of the fans, the courses, and sometimes the weather is not good. I'll be the first to admit that. I got stuck in some weather situations that were just downright miserable, but that's kind of all part of it. And the weather was perfect at Trin for me. Suited me. So I guess I had some bad weather coming to me, but everybody kind of gets stuck in some bad weather situations over there at times.
It builds character, and it's as fans, it's fun to watch. Seeing the high caliber players like yourself, tough it out in bad weather, and the courses over there. I love links golf. I think it's just the true historical architecture of the game. I think it's beautiful.
I think it's beautiful too. I don't know if I could handle it. If I lived there every day, but when I came over and played, I certainly enjoyed it.
So, what was the first liquid you poured into that claret jug?
Well, it was that night. Actually, champagne, pretty much. And my buddy who caddied for me, who I'm still friends with to this day, by the way, we were. I don't really, like I said, I don't really remember the press conference, or I remember in the parking lot meeting with all the volunteers and transportation people and all that. And then riding back to the hotel, it was a 15-minute ride. We were drinking champagne out of it and just looked at each other and started laughing and said, can you believe what just happened?
Yeah. Well, out of the 5 playoffs, Mark, that you've had in your career for PGA Tour playoffs, that is, this is the one that counted, right?
Yeah.
You lost the Greater Milwaukee, the Chrysler, the Doral, and the Byron Nelson, I believe, and 2 great players, Billy Mayfair, Jeff Ogilvy, Fred Couples. But this is the one that really kind of mattered and solidified your career.
Yeah, I definitely picked the right one to win. All the other playoffs I played good in. Something else happened. Billy Mayfair chipped in on, I think, the 3rd playoff hole in Milwaukee, and it was going a good 10 or 15 feet by and crashed into the pin. I hit a great shot at Tucson when Ogilvy won, but it went just over the green in the back bunker, dead. Norman chipped in for eagle at Doral. So, I mean, yeah, I was in for birdie already. And that's the thing about playoffs. I think Ben Crenshaw is 0-7 or 0-8, isn't he, or something like that?
Yeah.
So great players, don't win playoffs that often. But at any rate, I did pick certainly a good one to win.
I'm going to mention 3 tournaments that really stand out for me from what I remember. Obviously, the Bell Canadian Open, winning that in 2005. With runner-ups Ben Crane and Ryan Moore, that kind of stands out. But also your record at the Phoenix Open, always kicking everybody's butt, right? By 8 shots, by 7 shots. I mean, in '89, you won the Phoenix Open by 7 to Chip Beck, and then 2001 beating Rocco Mediate by 8. What is it about that event that you remember best?
Desert air.
Yeah. And that year, 2001 was definitely the best I've ever played for 72 straight holes. My bad shots were like 15 or 20 feet. And the weather was bad too. And Steve Lowry was third, and I had him covered by 16. I mean, that's like Tiger-esque type stuff. So, but I just hit it amazing. I putted great. I made 32 birdies that week, and 20 of them were inside 3 or 4 feet. Virtual gimmies. So it was just one of those deals where I had everything working, and it was a good course for me. And the Phoenix Open, the Thunderbirds always gave me plenty of tickets, so I had a lot of friends come out and watch me, and I just think I enjoyed showing off for my friends and showing them a good time, and hoping they'd go crazy every time I made a birdie, and they certainly did. So it was very, very motivating. Some guys have a hard time playing at home with the extra pressure of tickets. I won 2 Hondas at home as well.
That's cool.
5 of my 13 wins were home. Of course, I won. How many times I win in Canada? Twice. Stopped at home country. So.
That's great. That's great. One of the segments we do on the show, Mark, is called Funny and Embarrassing Moments in Golf. Now, when I say funny or embarrassing, if you go back to a tournament, maybe a pro-am or an event that you played in, what's the first thing to come to mind? We've had players talk about knocking people out unconscious with a golf ball, to being hit by a ball. But what's the first thing that comes to mind as far as a story is concerned?
Oh boy, I've had a lot of strange things happen to me in pro-ams. In Houston one year, playing at the Champions and the Tour Championship, I had just a horrendous calf muscle spasm. One of those that sits you bolt upright in the middle of the night. Way. And finally, it went away. And then 3 hours later, when I got up for the pro-am, I kicked the corner of the bedpost and on my right leg and broke my little toe.
Great. Oh no.
Third hole pro-am, a guy toe shanks a 3-wood and hits me in the back of the knee on the same leg. So.
Well, bad luck comes in threes, doesn't it?
Oh my God. Needless to say, my leg was a little sore that day, but I've seen amazing hole-in-ones. This one guy at the Hope hit a big pull hook, and it, like the highlight term, chewed it off the corner of a cart path, angled just right, ricocheted all the way up over the bunker and on the green, and went in for a hole-in-one. And then just 3 weeks ago in Atlanta, I'd never seen this before. So I'm playing with a guy from Colorado, and all his buddies said, up in Vail, all his buddies said, take 3 or 4 clubs more. The ball goes nowhere down there, especially if it's early and it's cool. And so he's hitting about his 5th shot on our first hole today, number 10 at Sugarloaf, and he's only about 120 yards from the hole. Yeah. He pulls out this hybrid, and I'm like, oh, do it. Flushed, and it not only flew the green, it flew the trees behind the green, flew a tent, flew some concession stands, some portlets, and landed in the street 90 yards over the green. I couldn't stop laughing. I just laughed.
Of course.
I've never before. I just laughed at it, and he says, "Well, my buddies told me to take more club." Okay.
Those things happen. Happen.
I should have written a book and wrote down all the funny things that happened in pro-am.
Yeah, we've had a lot of guests. Matt Adams was banging on the portalet at the Open, trying to get in there, but he finds out that Jordan Spieth was in there in between shots. One of his stories, or remember when Len came on, he said he got hit by a ball by Bryson DeChambeau. Bryson went up to him, didn't know who he was, signed the ball and gave it to him. So he ended up auctioning it off and raising $4,000 for his charity, though. But thanks for sharing. That's really great. That's really great that you're able to spend some time with us and share some stories Mike's going to wrap it up with one question, and I'm really thankful to be able to spend some time with you and tell your stories, because we grew up watching you, Mark. We're not that much younger than you. We're in our 50s, but it's sort of our thing of watching the Champions Tour now and watching you and your career, even going back and watching all those big tournaments. I think you see things differently because you see them from the inside out as a player, but from the outside in, me being a teaching professional, spending the last 26 years coaching, instructing, really appreciate your time.
Raphael and Mike, anytime. Enjoy talking to you guys.
Yeah, it was lots of fun. No, we appreciate your insight, and we're always thrilled to chat with guys we watched growing up. It's why we do this, and we're grateful for you spending some time with us. And I'll give you one more because I'm in Vancouver. You won, I believe it was the second Greater Vancouver Open, correct? And is there anything that stands out about that tournament to you these days? I know you played so many, but is there anything about the city that stands out?
I love Vancouver. It was obviously great to me winning that one in '97 and then 05 at Shaughnessy. But Green Valley?
It was Northview Country Club.
Northview.
Yeah.
I would have came up with that in a second. But anyway, 36th hole, I wasn't driving it very good. I was putting great and hitting my irons great. And I was using Jeff Maggart's backup putter the whole week.
Oh, wow.
And was putting great. The driver was missing 8. I had a throw on 9. I autographed it, all my best, to the Air Canada Championships. So now the club trailer is left, and I don't have a backup driver. So I borrowed Tim Herron's backup driver, Lumpy.
Yes.
He had a Mizuno XXX titanium 7-degree driver or whatever. The straightest I could hit it was about a 30-yard slice. So I sliced around all over the golf course the last 2 days, and end up fairway on 18 green. And, I think I edged Andrew McGee by 1. But the other thing I remember was my caddy, Greg Pidler Martin, who unfortunately just passed away last month, was caddying for me. And I look over and I putt my first putt about 2.5 feet by. It's probably not more than 2 feet to 2.5 feet. But it's for the win, right? And I look over and what's he doing? He's unscrewing the flag before I putt my 2.5 footer.
Oh boy!
Oh my God!
I'm like, oh my God! I can't believe he's doing that to me. He's putting the hawk right on me.
Wow.
Okay, just relax. Dead straight 2.5 footer, just like in the practice round, just like in the pro-am. And of course, I hit it right in the middle, and I yelled at him afterwards. I said, "Don't ever do that again." That was a great win, and that was a lot of fun to have Greg in the bag for that one.
And the win at Shaughnessy was pretty epic as well, because I remember Stuart Appleby was pissed off at the setup at Shaughnessy. I remember the rough was really high, and it's a tricky golf course. That's way more difficult than Northview. That was an impressive win.
My short game was amazing that week. I really didn't make any putts on the weekend, but the rough around the greens was what I would call scraggly. It was leaning left, right, India, down. You could get any sort of lie imaginable. The greens are pretty small and pretty firm. It played a lot like the Swiss Open. The rough was thick, but I just got off to such a great start, and I only made 1 birdie on the weekend on Sunday. I think I made 16 pars and 2 bogeys on Saturday. Made great pars, and I think I made 15 pars, 2 bogeys, and a birdie on Sunday. And my birdie was, I think, on 5 or 6. I think I hit a 5-iron to about a foot.
Wow!
And I really remember the last 2 shots I hit on 18, just a perfect drive and a beautiful 6-iron right underneath the hole. And I knew I could 2-putt. And honestly, it never crossed my mind I was going to make the putt. It was 8 feet. I'm like, all I was thinking was 2-putt. I haven't made one all weekend. Why make this one?
Yeah.
I was trying to make it, but I Ginsberged it up there about 6 inches and tapped in for the win. And I still tell everybody it's probably, after the Open, without a doubt, my second favorite win that I've had in my career.
Yeah, and the hat trick as well, because you won in Montreal on the seniors tour at the time. So
right,
it's, right now that's very impressive. So would love to see you up here again. If you do make it, I'll host you out at my club. It's a links course, and that the invitation's always there.
that sounds good. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right,
Mark,
so
thank you so much. It was great chatting with you, and wish you all the best.
All right, guys. Thanks very much. Anytime.
Absolutely. Take care.
Yep.
Well, that's Mark Calcavecchia joining us on the Golf Podcast Live. We're really happy to have him on. Wish him all the best in all his future endeavors. And if you're just watching that, make sure you share and make sure you follow not only us, but Mark Calcavecchia on X and Twitter. He's always a fun guy to listen to and hear his comments and to see his pictures. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Until next time. Mike?
Keep it in the
I'll
short
see you
grass.
next week.